The Senate will come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Senators Bridges, Buckner,
Excused.
Coleman, Cook, Coram, Danielson,
Excused.
Donovan,
Excused.
Fields, Gardner, Janal, Gonzalez, Hanson, Heisey, Holbert,
Excused.
Huckes Lewis, Kirkmeyer, Kolker, Lee, Liston, Lundeen, Moreno, Pedersen,
Here.
Priola, Rankin, Rodriguez, Scott,
Here.
Simpson, Smallwood, Sonnenberg, Story,
Here.
Winter, Woodward, Zenzinger, Donovan, Mr. President,
Here. The morning roll call is 31 present, 0 absent, 3 excused, and for just a few days, apologies to Pueblo, 1 vacant. We have a quorum. Will the other good, perhaps the best, as well, Senator from Denver, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, if you'll stand and join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal, Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Mr. President. We understand where we rank, I can tell already. I move that the reading of the Journal of Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022, be dispensed with and that the journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted. Senate Services.
correctly engrossed Senate Bills 50, 86, 92, 115, correctly re-engrossed Senate Bills 49, 59, 65, 75, and 108, correctly enrolled Senate Bills 17, 22, and 62.
Please add Senator Buckner to the roll. Committee reports.
February 16, 2022, Committee on Health and Human Services. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 82 be postponed indefinitely. February 22, 2022, Committee on Local Government. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 2 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. February 22, 2022, Committee on Transportation and Energy. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Joint Resolution 1002 be referred to the Senate for final action. February 22, 2022, Committee on Transportation and Energy. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1074 be referred to the committee for the whole with favorable recommendation, with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. February 22, 2022, Committee on State, Veterans, and Military Affairs. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 129 be postponed indefinitely. February 22, 2022, Committee on State, Veterans, and Military Affairs. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 105 be referred to the committee for the whole with favorable recommendation. February 22, 2022, Committee on State, Veterans, and Military Affairs. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 104 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. February 22, 2022, the Committee on State, Veterans, and Military Affairs. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 112 be postponed indefinitely. February 22, 2022, Mr. President, the Committee on State, Veterans, and Military Affairs has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments. Recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirm members of the Colorado Board of Veterans Affairs effective July 1, 2021 for terms expiring June 30, 2025. Sean Madej of Superior, Colorado, an unaffiliated and veteran who has been honorably released or separated from the armed forces of the United States, appointed. Longinos Gonzalez of Colorado Springs, Colorado, a Republican and a veteran who has been honorably released or separated from the armed forces of the United States, reappointed. February 22, 2022, the Committee on State, Veterans, and Military Affairs has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments. It recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Colorado Board of Veterans Affairs for a term expiring June 30, 2022, Raymond Taylor of Pagosa Springs, Colorado, a Republican and a veteran who has been honorably released or separated from the armed forces of the United States, occasioned by the resignation of Dwayne Daly of Hot Sulphur Springs, Colorado, appointed.
Committee appointments. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this time, I request that Ms. Cole read the committee appointment letter to the Joint Budget Committee.
Will the clerk please read the committee appointment letter?
Tuesday, February 22, 2022, Ms. Natalie Mullins, please be advised that pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute Section 2-3-201, I am appointing Senator Rachel Zenzinger to replace Senator Dominic Moreno on the Joint Budget Committee for the duration of the second regular session of the 73rd General Assembly, effective tomorrow, February 23, 2022. Sincerely, Stephen Fenberg, Senate President.
Third reading of bills, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the titles to all the bills on the consent calendar?
Senate Bill 115, Senators Jaquez, Lewis, and Gardner, Representative Soper and Tipper, concerning clarifying certain terms as the terms relate to the landowner's liability. Senate Bill 92, Senator Gardner, Representative Soper, concerning changes to the Colorado Probate Code. Senate Bill 50, Senators Coleman and Heisey, Representative Soper and Axum, concerning work opportunities for persons imprisoned by the Department of Corrections.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the passage of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar, which includes Senate Bill 115, Senate Bill 92, and Senate Bill 50.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes on any of the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 2 excused and 1 vacant, Senate Bill 115 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senator Janal. Majority Leader Moreno. Senator Gonzalez. Senator Zenzinger. Senator Kolker. Senator Coleman. Senator Liston, Senator Kirkmeyer, Senator Heisey, Senator Simpson, Senator Woodward, Senator Priola, Senator Bridges, Senator Lee, Senator Buckner, Senator Quorum, Senator Winter, I think last call, I don't see any, Senator Lundin. Senator Smallwood. With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, Senate Bill 92 is passed. Co-sponsors on Senate Bill 92. Senators Priola, Lee, Gonzalez, Cook, Smallwood, the Majority Leader, with a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 2 excused, Senate Bill 50 is passed. Co-sponsors on Senate Bill 50. Senators Simpson, Jaquez Lewis, Buckner, Gonzalez, Members, we're going to do this again. If I already called you, please raise your hand again. Co-sponsors on Senate Bill 50. Senators Gonzalez, Buckner, Lee, Winter, Priola, Hansen, Kolker, Bridges, Pedersen, Jaquez Lewis, Simpson, Gardner, Woodward, the Majority Leader. Please add the President. Third reading of bills, final passage. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 86?
Senate Bill 86, Senators Winter and Gonzalez, Representative Gray, concerning assets exempted from seizure in certain proceedings and in connection therewith expanding the amount in the application of the homestead exemption to include personal property that is actually used as a residence, increasing the scope and amount of assets that may be exempted, adding certain new exemptions, recreating and increasing an exemption for money in depository accounts, and removing a requirement that a person must deposit and not commingle funds in order to render child support payments and unemployment benefits exempt from levy to pay a debt.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. We move Senate Bill 86 on third reading and final passage and ask for an aye vote.
Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I'm going to explain why I was a yes on this bill in committee, and I will be a yes again on thirds. The bill basically adjusts the numbers in a lot of current statute, and I agree that's proper in that we are dealing with inflation. We're dealing with inflation caused by policymakers at the Fed to deal with the pandemic the last 2 years. And my understanding of finance, having studied it back in the day, is that inflation is hard to stop on a dime. So given this, assuming this bill is signed into law, I subject to you that inflation will not slow down in the next year or two, and that these numbers, as they're set in statute, will be about where they were 5 or 10 years ago, a couple years out. So that's the problem with setting fixed numbers in statute, is the economy changes and shifts and so on and so forth. I do not believe that this bill fundamentally changes the ability for collection folks to do their job and collect from folks who owe money, and that's why I'll be a yes.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I want to explain why I was a no vote on seconds and why the senator from Adams County should also be a no vote today on thirds. This does fundamentally change the ability of people and small businesses to collect on debts. Now, let's just make sure everybody understands how this works. The homestead exemption currently is $75,000. As this bill is amended, I think the number now is $250,000. So, say you have a home worth $400,000, which probably is a home in rural Colorado these days, but and it has a $200,000 mortgage. There's $200,000 of equity in the home and over and above what's owed. And if you're a creditor that has a $500,000 judgment against the homeowner for injuries sustained in an automobile accident, a business fraud, or anything like that, you can force the sale of the house, and given those numbers, you collect $125,000. They get to keep their homestead exemption value, and that gives them the ability to do something. It is their homestead exemption. It is what allows them to not be completely out of a home altogether. If this bill passes, the homestead exemption will be, as amended, $250,000, and that creditor, a legitimate creditor, not a bad person, and not always, and I'll speak about it in a minute, not always some credit card company out there, likely not, in fact, they won't be able to collect. Now, as I spoke yesterday on seconds, people should be able to shelter home value, tools, vehicles, keep it safe from creditors. But the $250,000 is too large. The other thing about this bill is it's going to benefit deadbeat parents, mostly dads, who owe child support, people who have perpetrated frauds on others, those who have committed torts and been found liable, automobile accidents, carelessness, intentional torts, assaults. I was impressed this morning, impressed in the sense of it caught my eye, to see that the National Federation of Independent Business has taken an opposition position on this bill. Not Wall Street, not corporate America, the National Federation of Independent Business, the small businesses. Why? Because raising the amount of what is the bank garnishment exemption takes away an important tool for small businesses to enforce the payment of valid debts against them. And again, I've encountered this with small businesses that lease copy machines, small businesses that lease all sorts of equipment to other small businesses. Raising the homestead exemption is going to allow more people to take advantage of this change. It's going to encourage the filing of bankruptcy. And it's most likely going to require first-time home buyers to come up with a good deal more of a substantial down payment. This is very appealing as a bill because it's like, wow, these poor folks have all these debts. Well, I submit to you that, yes, there are, as one of our colleagues said yesterday, situations where bad things happen to good people, but just as many and many, many more are people who have made bad decisions or taken a risk in business and it didn't turn out well for them, but that is the way business is. The inability to enforce payment of a valid obligation is going to cause small businesses to suffer, force businesses to raise their fees for goods and services. That's going to be a cost borne by each and every one of us and our constituents, punishing essentially everyone. And don't overlook the fact that when you do this, what you are doing is raising the cost of everyone obtaining credit. Everyone. And the people who will have the most difficult time obtaining credit are going to be those who are the most financially pressed. Not the people who already have a lot of money in the bank. They may not even need the credit, but if you don't need credit, you can get credit. That's the way it works. Members, this is bad policy, again, well-intentioned, but it will result in higher cost for every citizen in Colorado. It will cause further losses for small businesses. And at the end of the day, it will not be good for jobs, the economy, and overall affordability of life. I ask for a no vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Cole, please add Senator Holbert to the roll call. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 86. Are there any no votes? Maybe a few. Senators Sonnenberg, Heisey, Simpson, Rankin, Quorum, Kirkmeyer, Liston. Members, just want to make sure everyone is thinking through their vote on this one. So we're going to start over. I just didn't want Senator Sonnenberg to make a mistake. Are there any no votes on Senate Bill 86? Sonnenberg, Heisey, Simpson, Rankin, Kirkmeyer, Liston, Gardner, Lundin, Smallwood, Woodward, Cook, Holbert, Scott, with a vote of 20 ayes, 13 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, and 1 vacant, Senate Bill 86 is passed. Co-sponsors on Senate Bill 86. Majority Leader Moreno. Second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of General Orders, second reading bills consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the General Order, second reading of bills consent calendar, and Senator Winter will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. The court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title of all the bills on the General Orders, second reading of bills consent calendar?
Senate Bill 121, Senators Zenzinger and Simpson, Representatives Rich and McLaughlin, concerning increasing the amount of tuition revenues pledged by an institution of higher education. Senate Bill 42, Senators Coram, Representatives Escar and Will, concerning changes to the membership of the Board of Commissioners of the Colorado State Fair Authority.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the passage of all the bills on the General Orders second reading of bills consent calendar and their associated committee reports, which include Senate Bill 121 and Senate Bill 42 and the State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee report.
Is there any discussion on any of the committee reports? The motion before the body is the adoption of all the committee reports of the General Orders second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee reports are adopted. Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the consent calendar? The motion before the body is adoption of all the bills on the General Orders second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bills are adopted. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report that it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 121, Senate Bill 42 is amended, passed on second reading and ordered, engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 1 excused, 1 vacant, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 22-121, Senate Bill 22-042 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered, engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. General Order, second reading of bills. Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of General Order's second reading of bills.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the General Order, second reading of bills, and Senator Winter will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 79?
Senate Bill 79, Senators Coker and Janal, Representative Young, concerning required dementia training for direct care staff of specified facilities that provide services to clients living with dementia.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 79 and the Health and Human Services Committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The committee report simply was a technical amendment which removed requirements to approve training in advance. I ask for an aye vote.
The motion before us is the adoption of the committee report from Health and Human Services. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. To the bill, Senator Janal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is brought to us by the Alzheimer's Association because one of the biggest issues that they hear about, as well as many of us from families that they serve, is the need for dementia training in long-term care settings. They've also heard from many families who struggle with facilities that seem far less prepared to manage the symptoms and sometimes difficult behavior that's caused by their loved ones that have dementia. And in some circumstances, this can result in a deterioration of their loved one's condition or going through the process of moving them, which can be very traumatic. I mean, even just moving without dementia is traumatic. Imagine if you have dementia, the traumatic experiences with this disease. Dementia is a progressive neurological disease. We know that, and it is on the increase. Nationally, 48% of nursing homes, probably about 50%, I'd say, have patients that in their facility that have dementia, 42% in residential facilities like assisted living, and 31% in adult daycare services, and I believe this number is pretty low if you really take all the statistics into account. But the direct care staff in the facilities help residents and program participants with basic activities and are ultimately responsible for their physical and mental health, safety, and welfare. And this bill focuses on these facilities and the direct care staff that they employ. And I want to thank the healthcare heroes for doing the challenging work through COVID and caring for some of our most vulnerable loved ones. How does this bill training support direct care? Basically, it's working with the direct care staff by ensuring that they have the tools that they need to do this work. We hope it will make their jobs easier, reducing some of the stress, the burnout, and the turnover in this industry that they have been experiencing. It will also help families by ensuring that all the facilities have a minimum level of dementia capability. And I'm going to turn it over to the good senator from Arapahoe County to explain this bill even further.
Senator Kolker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The purpose, again, of this bill is to fill in gaps and to provide a training floor for the staff in these care settings. And this is direct care staff, not all staff, but those who are in direct contact with dementia patients. The staff is most likely to serve people living with dementia. Those provisions are to provide a level training across all facilities. We have worked with stakeholders going over what are some of the main requirements that we would like to see. There are 4 things in the bill to specify the first one, to specify certain items. The first one is they have to adopt rules currently in the bill by January 1st, 2024, but we have an amendment to address that. They also are to choose an effective date at their choosing. This effective date will have flexibility on when these rules are to go in place. And there's also an exception to training requirements for certain direct care staff. The bill is to provide a baseline. We've heard from government agency HCPF that they're going to be using ARPA funds to set up training modules across all their platforms. This bill will allow them to have a basis for their training on dementia. Again, to fill in the gaps, to provide a floor so that there's consistent care across all facilities. And I'd like to move an amendment to this bill.
There is an amendment on the desk. Senator Kolker.
So we're going to move amendment
L0.
L002.
Will the clerk please read Amendment L002?
Amendment L002.
Senator Kolker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This amendment is to clean up some of the language, but also to extend that deadline to July of 2024 of when they have to have the rules formulated. Again, this is to formulate the rules, and we are still allowing for the departments to determine within this bill when to implement those rules. We understand that these facilities and this long-term care, nursing home, and adult daycare, we understand the problems they've been going through with the pandemic. This is to, again, provide that flexibility, to give them a baseline so that when these trainings are instituted or formulated, there is a baseline for that training. So, and again, this is also only to apply to direct care staff, and I ask for an aye vote on the amendment.
Is there further discussion on L002? Senator Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question of the bill sponsor regarding the amendment. Does that mean that in 2024, when this becomes effective, that the training is put off, this mandatory training, 4 hours, is it put off till 2024?
Senator Kolker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, this is just to formulate the rules for the training. And then, if you notice in the bill, it still allows them to determine the date that the training has to start. So at minimum, July 2024, it puts off the training.
Is there any further discussion on L002? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of L002. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. L002 is adopted. Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 79? Senator Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I appreciate the good work that the senators from Fort Collins and the senators from Arapahoe County. Yes, I knew it was close. I just want to make sure that we understand that there's no free lunch, that the training that will be required of the nursing home staffs, even if it kicks in another 2, 3, 4 years, it will still be an added cost to these nursing homes. It's been brought to my attention that there are over 11,000 nursing home employees around the state. And if you calculate in the 4-hour training and the cost and so forth, this will cost the nursing homes an additional excess of over $2 million minimally. And also it will apply to the doctors and the physicians and other technical employees who really know and understand about dementia. So, we're always concerned about affordability in this day and age. This will ultimately cost these additional training costs. In part, will be passed along to the very people that we're trying to help. So, while I appreciate what they're trying to do, this will ultimately drive up the cost for extended stays in nursing homes. So just consider that as you make your vote, and thank you very much.
Senator Priola.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I applaud the sponsors in this policy. I don't disagree with this policy. My understanding, it's already required under Medicaid, but my problem is with the fiscal note. I do not see how a department needs to justify $90,000 general fund costs, so that's why I'll be a no.
Any further discussion on Senate Bill 79? Seeing none, all those in favor, Senate Bill 79, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and 79 is passed. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 76?
Senate Bill 76, Senators Holbert, Representative Mullica, concerning complaints related to a person's authorization to practice an occupation for acts committed while the person is serving in an official capacity.
Senator Holbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 76 and the committee report from State Veterans and Military Affairs.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, the couple of amendments that passed in committee, I want to give a shout out and thanks to Michael Nicoletti and the team at DORA, also to the chair of the State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee and the members of that committee. We did hear testimony, laid the bill over, came back for action only, and successfully amended the bill, and it passed unanimously. The committee report makes clear that if a person makes an anonymous complaint against a licensee who serves on a public board, based solely on the words or votes cast in the public forum of that board, that the complaint will be dismissed, but also, and thank you again to Dora, that if the complaint is not anonymous, that it may be dismissed, but it may also be considered by the regulator to determine whether or not it includes anything beyond words or actions spoken in such a public body. Ask for an aye vote on the committee report.
The motion before, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of the State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. To the bill, and there is an amendment on the desk. Minority Leader Holbert. Will the clerk please read L004?
L004 by Senator
Minority Leader
Holbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move L004.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. L004 clarifies, just a technical amendment, clarifies the committee report that we just adopted, page 1, line 2. There was a typographical error since both amendments in the second committee hearing passed. Ask for an aye vote. Again, this is strictly a technical amendment asked by the drafter.
The question before us is the adoption of L004. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and L004 is adopted. To the bill, Minority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 76 seeks to address a rather troubling occurrence that is happening here in Colorado. Occasionally, people who are appointed to public boards or commissions, such as a county board of health, occasionally those people who serve in a public appointed capacity might say something or vote a certain way that would be in opposition to, not to the liking of, someone who lives in the affected district or just here in Colorado. We are familiar with the cancel culture, taking after someone via social media for words or actions that a person might disagree with. Well, Senate Bill 76 seeks to address cancel culture turned to government, using the leverage, the force of government to pressure, persuade, or even cancel a person who has an opinion other than that of the person filing the complaint. This is particularly troubling when we have provided through statute the ability to file anonymous complaints against certain licensed, registered, or certified professionals here in Colorado. A friend of mine in Douglas County serves on the Douglas County Board of Health, and on October 8th expressed an opposition to a not statewide, but countywide mask mandate. She expressed that opinion on October 8th, which was approximately 2 months after El Paso County Board of Health and the El Paso County Commissioners expressed the same opinion and took the same position. She expressed that opinion on October 8th, approximately 1 month before Governor Jared Polis expressed much the same opinion on a statewide basis. She expressed that opinion months before Denver expressed that opinion, and now I understand that the folks in Boulder County may have reached much the same opinion. But on October 8th, a friend of mine in Douglas County expressed an opinion and voted against a countywide mask mandate. And soon thereafter, someone anonymously filed a complaint against her medical license. She is a doctor. There was not advocacy to the County Board of Health. There was not advocacy to the 3 county commissioners who had appointed her to that Board of Health. There was an anonymous complaint filed against her medical license based on comments that were of a general policy-making perspective and a vote that backed up that perspective. The anonymous complaint resulted in a letter being sent from Dora to that doctor, encouraging or requiring response by a certain date and encouraging that she lawyer up. My words, that's not in the document. But that had resulted in approximately $3,000 of legal payment obligation to her just to respond, to tell her side of the story. I think that's wrong. If you want to advocate against someone who is a licensed, registered, or certified professional in Colorado, who has been appointed to such a public body by the governor of Colorado, or the Speaker of the House, or the President of the Senate, or either of the minority leaders, or someone like your county commissioners, then take it up with that public body, or the person or people who appointed that person to that public body. Go to the meeting, the next meeting of that public body, and have your voice heard. But with Senate Bill 76, if an anonymous complaint is filed against a licensee, certificate, or registrant based solely on the words spoken or votes cast in such a public body, then the regulator would dismiss the complaint. And the licensed, registered, or certified person would not be obligated to lawyer up and incur thousands of dollars of legal costs just to tell his or her side of the story. I also want to say thank you to Michael Nicoletti and the folks at DORA, also to the chair of the State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee, because we also made a provision that words spoken or actions taken away from the mic, like we have here in the General Assembly. When I speak here at this mic or in a committee, I have constitutional immunity, and the Constitution says that I cannot be questioned in any other place for those words spoken or votes cast. Senate Bill 76 would not give the hundreds, maybe thousands of people in Colorado who serve on these public boards immunity, but it would protect them from this cancel culture turned to the force of government, from being able to cause pain, financial pain, inconvenience for those licensees, registrants, or certificates simply by filing an anonymous complaint. I ask for your aye vote on Senate Bill 76, and for Dr. Fielding, thank you for standing up to this insidious practice in our state. Again, Madam Chair, I ask for an aye vote on Senate Bill 76, and great appreciation to the Chair of State Veterans and Military Affairs for allowing time to get the amendments to get this bill right, and for the unanimous vote through that committee. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 76. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the committee is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report that it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 79 is amended. Senate Bill 76 is amended. Passed on second reading and ordered, engrossed, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
Motion is the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 1 excused, and 1 vacant, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 79 is amended. Senate Bill 76 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered, engrossed, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Consideration of House amendments. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 13?
Senate Bill 13, Senators Fenberg and Holbert, Representatives Garnett and McKean, concerning requirements for boards and commissions and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Minority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 13.
First time this session.
Mr. Minority Leader, please explain why we would change this perfect bill.
That is an excellent question, Mr. President, because it really did appear to be perfect when it left the Senate chamber. Senate Bill 13, again, is the Boards and Commissions bill. This will revise how our successors will deal with congressional redistricting and how that might change the number of people who serve on a board or commission, for instance, the number of CU regents when that happens in 10 years. I ask for an aye vote because it's important that we get this done, and happy to try to answer any questions, but do ask for an aye vote on concurrence with House amendments.
Is there any discussion? The motion is that the Senate concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 13. Are there any no votes? Really? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, and 1 vacant, the motion is adopted. Minority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the repassage of Senate Bill 13.
The motion is the repassage of Senate Bill 13. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 1 excused, and 1 vacant, Senate Bill 13 is repassed. Co-sponsors for Senate Bill 13. Senator, no. Senator Liston, I believe you're already on it. Governor's appointments, consent calendar. Consideration of governor's appointments, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read all the appointments listed on the consent calendar?
Members of the Colorado Commission on Aging for a term expiring July 1st, 2022. Jacqueline E. Stiff of Centennial, Colorado, serving as a Democrat from the 6th Congressional District, occasioned by the resignation of Ryan James Bermude of Aurora, Colorado, appointed for a term expiring July 1st, 2024. Aaron Smith of Montrose, Colorado, serving as a Republican from the 3rd Congressional District, occasioned by the resignation of Susan Jenna Hansen of Montrose, Colorado, appointed. Members of the Financial Services Board, effective July 2nd, 2021, for terms expiring July 1st, 2025. Mickey Freeman of Golden, Colorado, to serve as a member of the Public with expertise in finance and as an unaffiliated reappointed. Michael George Hurst of Del Norte, Colorado, to serve as Executive Officer of State Savings and Loan Association and a Democrat, reappointed. Michael L. Williams of Highlands Ranch, Colorado, to serve as Executive Officer of a State Credit Union and a Republican, reappointed. Member of the Board of Trustees for the University of Northern Colorado, effective December 31st, 2021, for a term expiring December 31st, 2025. Annette Martinez of Windsor, Colorado, to serve as an unaffiliated, appointed. A member of the Colorado Student Leaders Institute Executive Board for a term expiring July 7th, 2023, Oscar Felix, PhD, Fort Collins, Colorado, to serve as a person employed as a teaching faculty or administrator at an institution of higher education in Colorado, reappointed. Members of the Board of Governors of the Colorado State University System, effective December 31st, 2021, for terms expiring December 31st, 2025. Louis Martin of Rush, Colorado, to serve as a member who has substantial experience in the production of agriculture and as an unaffiliated appointed. Kenzo Kawanabe of Denver, Colorado, to serve as an unaffiliated appointed. Elizabeth Markey, Fort Collins, Colorado, to serve as a Democrat appointed member of the Coal Mine Board of Examiners for terms expiring July 1st, 2025. Michael Greg McFarland of Dolores, Colorado, to serve as a coal mine owner, operator, manager, or other mine official actively engaged in underground mining, reappointed. Members of the Mine Land Reclamation Board for terms expiring March 1st, 2025. Jill Nelson of Golden, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the mining industry, appointed. Patrick Ortiz of Monte Vista, Colorado, to serve as an individual with a substantial experience in conservation, appointed.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the confirmation of all the appointments listed on the consent calendar. And colleagues, you will find all of the appointments on pages 2 and 3 of your printed calendar. It includes the members of the Colorado Commission on the Aging, the members of the Financial Services Board, the members of the Board of Trustees for the University of Northern Colorado, the members of the Colorado Student Leaders Institute Executive Board, members of the Board of Governors of the Colorado State University System, members of the Coal Mine Board of Examiners, and members of the Mine Land Reclamation Board.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the confirmation of all. Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say, most importantly and least relevantly, the folks who came through the Finance Committee had excellent book recommendations. Thank you for that.
Terrific. Thank you, Senator Bridges, for your endorsement of the consent calendar appointments. Is there any further discussion to add to this robust debate? The motion is a confirmation of all the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With 33 ayes, 1 excused, 1 vacant, all the appointments are confirmed. Consideration of governor's appointments. Will the clerk please read the appointments to the Pinnacle Assurance Board of Directors?
Members of the Pinnacle Assurance Board of Directors, effective January 1st, 2022, for terms expiring January 1st, 2027. Howard L. Carver of Silverthorne, Colorado, to serve as a member with experience in management and operation of insurance companies not competing with Pinnacle, reappointed. Jesus Salazar of Denver, Colorado, to serve as an employer whose liability is insured by Pinnacle, reappointed. For a term expiring January 1st, 2024. Mal Hell of Denver, Colorado, to serve as an employee or employer whose liability is insured by Pinnacle, occasioned by the resignation of Brad Robert Bussey of Denver, Colorado, appointed. For a term expiring January 1st, 2026. Andy Rugg of Denver, Colorado, to serve as an employee of an employer whose liability is insured by Pinnacle, occasioned by the resignation of Geraldine Ann Lewis Jenkins of Denver, Colorado, appointed.
Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the confirmation of Howard Carver, Jesus Salazar, Moa Hiley, and Andy Rugg to the Pinnacle Assurance Board of Directors.
Is there any discussion? Senator Woodward.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to explain a vote that took place in the BLT committee last week. We had the chance to interview the nominee to Pinnacle Assurance, Ms. Andy Rugg. One of the things that I look for is whether or not a person meets the qualifications. Not only are they professionally qualified, but do they meet the qualifications set forth in statute? It turns out that when Pinnacle was set up and the board of directors was the members were set up, we required that 4 of those members be employers and 4 of those members be employees. I think the purpose, of course, is to make sure that we have every voice at the table. By making this nomination of Ms. Andy Rugg to this board, she has been nominated to fill a role as an employee. It turns out, at first glance on her resume, that she is an employee of an employer that she owns. She's the sole employee. So my worry was that she's coming at this position and couldn't adequately represent perhaps concerns of employees as they bring issues before Pinnacle. I've taken a look at the interview, researched, and I think in the end that she's a highly qualified person to serve on this board. However, this again puts the governor on notice that, perhaps technically she can be called an employee, but I think that it violates the spirit of the way that we set these assignments up. And I'd ask that all of us, as we hear these nominations, make sure that they are not only qualified people, but they meet the intent of the original statute. Today I'll be a yes vote because I think that technically she may meet the qualifications, and I believe she's highly qualified to serve in this role.
Is there any further discussion? The motion is the confirmation of the governor's appointments to the Pinnacle Assurance Board of Directors. Are there any no votes? With 33 ayes, 1 excused, 0 noes, 1 excused, and 1 vacant, those appointments are confirmed. Announcements. Senator Lundin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I almost feel like I should have a drum roll for this. Let me just put it like this. When there's a shine on your shoes, there's a melody in your heart. Munch Nielsen will be back in the building to shine shoes down in the cafeteria starting tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. So heads up, bring your boots, bring your shoes, and she is working in the building. She'll, of course, take stuff home with her and bring them back if you'd like, but Munch will be back in the building. I wanted everybody to know that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Education Committee will be meeting upon adjournment. We will be hearing one bill, Senate Bill 137. Thank you.
Senator Story. Senator Story, I think you are muted. We like what you're saying, though.
Of course you like what I'm saying. Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry about that. Just wanted to announce the Capital Development Committee will be meeting tomorrow, February 24th at 8:15 a.m. in Senate Committee Room 357. And a second announcement that the Greater Denver Placement Referral Alliance, the GDPRA, is having their first annual legislative luncheon today in the building from noon to 1:30, first floor. And so you should all go down there and visit with them and have some lunch because they are the placement referral professionals serving the needs of Colorado's seniors statewide. See you down there, noon to 1:30.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Health and Human Services will meet at 1:30 today, and we're hearing one bill, Senate Bill 106. We are laying over Senate Bill 98 for another date.
Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Judiciary Committee will meet on adjournment for Bill 128. The jury bias bill, 128.
Senator Jaquez Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, you're invited to a reception tonight. It's for legislators from One Colorado. The reception will be from 6 to 8 p.m. at the X Bar, and it's sponsored by One Colorado, just to be clear. That's at 629 East Colfax and Washington. Please come.
Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Business, Labor, and Technology Committee will be meeting at 1:30 today. We are removing Senate Bill 130 off of the calendar, rescheduling it for next week, so we'll be hearing Senate Bill 113 and 116 today. Thank you.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. The senator from, where are you from? El Paso County. The senator from El Paso County and I would like to invite you to the Aerospace and Defense Caucus lunch today. It will be at 11:30 to 1 p.m. across the street in the Sherman building on the 6th floor in the conference room.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you. And colleagues, members, it is across the street. It is in person. There is lunch. This is a landmark event. It is always a good event to discuss the aerospace and defense industries in Colorado and what they do. So hope to see you there.
And I will add, of all the lunches that I attend here at the Capitol, these guys usually have some of the best food. So if you're looking for a great meal for free today at lunch, head on over to the Aerospace and Defense Caucus at 11:30 to 1 p.m. across the street.
Senator Smallwood.
Good morning, Mr. President. Thank you. Colleagues, want to announce that tomorrow we will have our second meeting of the 2022 Colorado Children's Caucus. These are virtual meetings, and unlike last time when you had to dig through your mailbox to get the link, you should all have the link in your email this time. So it is tomorrow from 12:15 to 1:15 p.m., and we'll discuss, among other things, the implementation of iMatter. So for those who were sponsors, the senator from Loveland, the senator from Aurora of House Bill 21-1258, you can see the fruits of your labor. So look forward to seeing you on Zoom tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Colorado Financial Planning Association is conducting their annual day at the Capitol tomorrow, Thursday. They will have bagels and coffee in room 107, and of course they would love to meet you.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a personal privilege at the hour of 10:15 a.m.
Granted. Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would appreciate a couple of raps of your gavel to ensure that we have the attention of those here in the chamber. Perhaps it's not necessary.
Let it be known that a gavel banging does not equal endorsement. Members, please pay attention to the senator from El Paso County.
Thank you, Mr. President. In all seriousness, members, my local newspaper and your local newspaper had articles today concerning the fentanyl crisis and the tragic deaths. And those articles say, when will the legislature do something? I have to tell you, this is frustrating to me. It is frustrating to me because last fall, I began work on a bill that, through discussions, was to be introduced in the House. It has been drafted. It has languished there while there were discussions. Now, my party does not control this floor, this chamber, this building. The amount of time it is taking to come forth and deal with the mistake that was House Bill 19-1263 is astounding to me. I thought in January, when the governor, or December and January, when the governor, the attorney general, and members of this chamber had press conferences and said, we must do something about the fentanyl crisis, that surely within 2 or 3 weeks of convening, we would see bills moving through, a bill or bills moving through the General Assembly to solve this problem. But here we are, 1/3 of the way into the session, and I hear that people meet and meet and meet, and yet nothing has happened. There is no bill introduced. Members, you can tell me things take time, but I remember 2 years ago, in the midst of a pandemic, a major bill was passed in 2.5 weeks that completely changed policing in the state of Colorado, when a good deal more discussion might have been warranted. But a bill that's 3 pages long can't be introduced. Why is that? Well, I've been here long enough to know that there are unstated reasons. But they all come down to one thing: a lack of political will to do this thing. I leave it to the Fourth Estate to ask people why there's a lack of political will to do this. But to ensure that it is done, and based on my colleague, the gentlelady from Weld County, and her remarks yesterday, she and I will present ourselves in the President's office to staff upon recess or adjournment to request that this bill that has already been drafted, that we be extended a bill title for the introduction of this bill in the Senate. We hope the President and Majority Leader will grant us this permission so that we can introduce this bill in this chamber and start moving it forward. How will it fare? I don't know. That's why we have a legislative process. Will it be amended? Most likely. That's why we have a legislative process. But to discuss dither the amount and level of fecklessness, while we rightfully are asked by our public, our constituents, the people of Colorado, why can't you get something done, is justified. No longer. We need to start a bill, and we need to move it forward so that the people of Colorado know that we are seeing to the concerns that they have raised and that they have and have sent us here to deal with. Thank you, Mr. President.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate adjourn until 9 a.m. Thursday, February 24th, 2022.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will adjourn until 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Thursday, February 24th, 2022.